7, 6.
Good evening, Champaign-Urbana. Welcome to the Thursday edition of UI7 News. I'm Sheldon Bradford.
And I'm Demi Ramirez. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Hopefully you're staying warm as the region experiences record-breaking cold.
Exactly. Much of the United States, including the Champaign-Urbana area, experienced its coldest temperatures on record this week. As part of the polar vortex, more than 212 million people were in for a deep freeze. CNN's Natasha Chen has more.
From the Richmond Journalism Teaching Studio at the University of Illinois campus, UI7 News, your U of I news source.
Hello, this is the UI7 News.
I'm Demi Ramirez.
And I'm Sheldon Bradford.
Thank you so much for joining us.
More on that story.
What we have coming up for you today, more on the cold that you've been experiencing in the Champaign-Urbana area and in the Midwest. Like Sheldon mentioned, let's go to the CNN Natasha Chen story.
Always being cold in the winter, but never close to this cold.
Even for those used to bone-chilling temperatures, this week's record-breaking deep cold will be brutal, as a historic polar vortex brings extreme and dangerous cold weather to much of the U.S.
I can't feel my hands. That's what I say. It's unbearable and it's dangerous.
Officials say the extreme frigid air is torturing the Midwest and heading east, dropping temperatures 20 to 40 degrees below zero and shattering dozens of records along the way. Schools are closed and postal service suspended along some parts of 10 states impacted by the bitter weather. This week in Chicago, it will be colder than some parts of Antarctica, possibly reaching 27 below zero by Thursday. And in Minnesota, wind chills could reach 70 below zero.
Hard to take a breath in. It's affecting my lungs a little bit.
The deep cold has already canceled some 2,700 flights across the nation, with the worst weather conditions yet to come. Emergency officials are urging people to stay inside.
Just stay home and stay safe. Don't get on the roads if you don't have to.
In Chicago, Natasha Chen reporting.
Well, if you're heading outside,
And you probably won't want to be out there for too long.
that's right. Our UI7 weather correspondent, Will Most, joins us with your first look at the weather and what to expect.
Hi guys, it's still cold out there. It's not quite as cold as yesterday. Right now it's 8 degrees. We should be expecting some snow coming in soon and decent high winds at about 5 miles per hour. But the thing to really talk about was yesterday. At some points yesterday it reached negative 16 degrees with a wind chill of negative 40. Those are, life-threatening temperatures. And even on another campus at University of Iowa, a student died because of those temperatures. So we got to be really careful to take precautions to make sure that we stay safe in these temperatures.
Now let's say you're crazy enough to go outside in those temperatures. What would you recommend someone to wear or, such things like that?
Absolutely. I would say that you want to put on about 3 to 4 layers. You want to bundle up 2 coats if possible. Make sure that even if you can, maybe 2 pairs of gloves, extra socks. I mean, you want to cover every part of your body. I wore ski goggles yesterday, actually, to make sure that I didn't deal with any frostbite at all. So you want to take that precaution, and then also you want to keep the things that you love safe, like your pets. Just because your pets are animals doesn't mean they're not also cold. You can put sweaters on them. You can make sure that they have boots so that the salt doesn't get in their feet and really damage them. So you got to be really careful when you're taking your pets out.
Definitely, definitely. Well, thank you so much, Will. That's a lot to take in. And we wanted to hear more about the record-setting colds. So our UI7 team hit the freezing streets on campus yesterday.
I don't think any amount of layering is enough.
So far, not too bad. Got a couple layers on. Supposed to get a little bit colder tonight, though. So might have to stay in, be in my nice warm apartment.
Pretty bad. I mean, I come from India, so it's pretty warm there. First time in like
freezing temperatures for me.
No, this is the coldest I've ever been in my life. I've never lived anywhere other than San Diego, so this is culture shock for me.
Actually, I'm just recovering from a broken leg, so I was a little worried about the ice, so it's kind of nice. I think the school had the right idea of, taking the day off, because it could be dangerous.
Coming up after the break, we'll check in on how any type of compromise for President Trump's border wall is progressing.
And we'll see how one local church is recovering after a tragic fire. These stories and more coming up after the break.
Dad, I need your help asking Jessica to prom.
Of course. Love is like the ocean. You have to tread the
waters.
waters.
Dad, that's not the kind of help I needed. Hey, Jessica. Will you go to prom with me?
Yes.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care can't wait to share their first with you.
I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it. My support team never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew who I could become as a person. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Because of you, I feel not alone in this world, and you let me know that it only takes one person to make you feel wanted.
Me and my boy Matt had it good. He had catnip that was off the hook. But one day, he brings a girl home, and she's allergic to cats. Every sneeze was a nail in my coffin. Now I'm in a shelter. It's decent, but they don't even have Wi-Fi.
Oh, Dapper Leon. I almost feel like every Friday I have a date. He'll have a vest or a jacket.
She sees me at my best.
Drop off a warm meal and get more than you expect. Volunteer at americaletsdolunch.org.
Welcome back to UI7 News.
President Trump took jabs at U.S. intelligence chiefs in response to their national security assessment. CNN's Pamela Brown reports.
President Trump today punching back against his own intelligence chiefs for their candid national security assessment, which contradicted some of the president's own claims. In a tweet that included a misspelling, Trump suggested the intel chiefs he nominated are, quote, naive and should go back to school. He's particularly upset over their assessment of Iran.
At the moment, technically, they're in compliance, but we do see them debating amongst themselves as they failed to realize the economic benefits they hope for from the deal.
But the president, not satisfied with that answer, tweeted, Iran is still a source of potential danger and conflict.
We have won against ISIS. We've beaten them, and we've beaten them badly.
And after declaring victory over ISIS, the intelligence chiefs clearly striking a nerve with the president. As they testified, ISIS is still a serious threat to the U.S.
Remaining pockets of ISIS and opposition fighters will continue, we assess, to stoke violence. ISIS is intent on resurging and still commands thousands of fighters in Iraq and Syria.
Coates also refuting Trump's claims that North Korea will eventually give up its nuclear program.
We currently assess that North Korea will seek to retain its WMD capabilities and is unlikely to completely give up its nuclear weapons and production capabilities.
This, as new reporting from the Financial Times puts more scrutiny on the president's relationship with Russian President Vladimir Putin. The report says that when Trump and Putin spoke after a G20 event in Buenos Aires in November, Trump didn't have a note-taker or translator there to document their conversation. It also cites a Russian government official's account that the two leaders discussed a range of issues. The White House did not respond to CNN's questions about the meeting, except to again say their encounter was one of a series of informal discussions Trump had with counterparts that evening.
On the other side of the aisle, Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi continued the back and forth this morning by restating there will not be money legislated for a wall from the Democratic-led House. The stalemate between Pelosi and President Trump is ongoing after a 35-day government shutdown last month.
The negotiation. It is not a negotiation for the president to say. What did he say today? It doesn't matter what Congress does. I knew that he wanted it all to himself.
Two different people claim to be the president of Venezuela. On one hand, we have Nicolas Maduro, and on the other, we have Juan Guaido. The international community stands with opposition leader Guaido, who last week declared himself the interim president of the country. The 35-year-old was recently elected head of Venezuela's Congress. According to the Venezuelan Constitution, if there's a vacancy in power, the head of Congress has the duty to become the president. Article 233 gives Guaido legitimacy in the eyes of the international community, something that Nicolas Maduro does not have after his controversial re-election in 2018. Despite massive protests, Maduro has not agreed to give up his power. Around 3 million people have fled Venezuela in search of better opportunities. Professor Damaris Kanash, who teaches in political science department at the U of I, is one of the many Venezuelans who immigrated. She says their future of her country is unpredictable. The military is still with Nicolas Maduro. That's why it's hard to determine whether or not this is really the end of his regime.
This idea of, of Chavismo, of something that was going to change Venezuela forever, I think that ended.
The people of Venezuela are disappointed with the socialist revolution that Hugo Chavez started back in 1999. The next few days will be critical for the development of this presidential crisis.
The university's Hillel Center for Jewish Life and YMCA dedicated a day honoring survivors of the Holocaust with a special art exhibit from Israel. In the World Holocaust Remembrance Center located in Israel, their art exhibit traveled to campus at Murphy Gallery at the YMCA. The exhibit was structured around Muslim Albanians who rescued Jews during World War II. The exhibit hosted a welcome reception to the community, featuring speakers from the Muslim Champaign-Urbana community. Chancellor Robert J. Jones, and the exhibit will be open to the public until February 17th.
After its sanctuary suffered a devastating fire, the Mount Olive Baptist Church congregation in Champaign still had service on Sunday. A fire started in the attic and gutted most of the building last week. Sunday's service was held at the CU Church in Champaign, where many of the members came to mourn this tragedy. Pastor of the church, Keith Thomas, says that the reaction to this tragedy has been amazing due to other churches and support from the community.
Reaching out and becoming a part of helping restore. That's what makes Champaign-Urbana a unique situation, and proud to be a part of this community.
The church has a Facebook page where they are accepting any donations for their church. Still to come after the break, we'll see the potential new home for the popular campus bar, Cam's. And UI7 weather correspondent Will Most will have your full weather forecast. Something you don't want to miss. Don't go away.
Sometimes the things we do or say can make others feel hurt, excluded, or isolated. Everything you say and do creates an impact.
How am I supposed to save the whole world? You can't think about saving the world. You have to think about saving one person.
Because of you, someone's entire life can change. You don't have to be a superhero to have a positive impact.
Friends?
Friends.
King.
Go fish. In your face, in your face.
It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Your girls have been with you through every moment of your life. They were with you when you felt unbreakable, and with you when you had your heart broken. They were with you when you shared your love with the world, and with you when she became your world. They're still with you right now. But how well do you know them?
You don't know my name. Woo! Come on! Go, Diane! Yeah, keep it going! Yeah! Go, 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 honey!
If you love them enough to drive an hour to cheer them on as they get beat 11-0 in the rain, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
Throw that ball, Diane! Woo! You got this!
Welcome back to UI7 News.
The University of Illinois has always had a reputation for being a good time, largely because of the massive bar scene. But in recent years, that scene has taken a bit of a hit, losing both Clybourne and Firehouse to campus development. Now another bar is at risk, with rumors of developers making more changes. UI7 Thomas Poulsen reports.
Last week, drawings were released of an alleged new design for one of the university's most infamous spots, CAMS. The drawings show a new, more modern-looking bar featuring a rooftop patio and a new location at the corner of 1st and Green Street. Along with the drawings were talks of a plan to turn the current CAMS location and the entire block of 6th and Daniel into more high-rises. But, according to Quinn Gertis, a manager of the bar, he is unaware of these plans.
We have no idea anything, like if that was just something like an artist drew up or where they are in the process, if that's even true. I hope it doesn't happen, honestly.
CAMS employees in the city of Champaign seem to be on the same page when it comes to the future of the bar. Senior planner for economic development in Champaign, TJ Blakeman, said that he is also unaware of any planned changes.
There was the renderings of the potential new CAMs at the corner of 1st and Green. I saw those renderings like you did. So there have been no plans submitted for either of those projects. So I'm not sure exactly what stage they are.
While the future of CAMS may be uncertain, other developments such as the one behind me at 6th and Green are far underway and set to make their debuts in fall of 2020.
It's obviously under construction now. They've done all the demolition. They're getting ready to start digging the foundation. That building is well on its way. It should be open in I would assume it's going to be open in time for the fall of 2020.
While the campus has already changed plenty, it seems there is still much more on the way. In Champaign, I'm Thomas Poulsen, UI7 News.
We've experienced some dangerously cold temperature this week.
UI7's Will Mose is here to tell us more on what to expect this weekend. Will?
Hi guys, I'm here to talk about the weather a little bit. Looking out at today, we had 8 degrees, but as we move on to tonight, we're going to be dipping into lower temperatures, about 12 degrees, and there is a 100% chance of snow. We should be getting 1 to 3 inches overnight, but my friend Andrew Pritchard, a meteorologist, told me 2 inches. Tomorrow, we're looking at 33 degrees, but no snow, low temp of 22, some wind chill at 5 miles per hour. Moving on, looking onto local temperatures. Looking at the local temperatures, we got 8 degrees in Champaign-Urbana, 7 degrees in Danville, 11 in Decatur, and 3 in Bloomington-Normal. It's even colder up there. And Midwest temperatures, we get a look at some people who have it a little better than us and a little worse than us. Minnesota is not doing very well, especially Iowa as well. Negative 8 degrees in Cedar Rapids, 1 degree in Ann Arbor, and Chicago, of course, dealing with a lot of cold from the lakefront, negative 10 degrees. Looking at our national temperatures, we get to see people who are doing great in Miami. How is it 75 degrees there? That's ridiculous. But as I was saying, Minnesota, Minneapolis, negative 11. I have a friend who went there. School was canceled for them today. It would have been nice if it was canceled today. That's all I've got to say about that. Looking ahead at our 5-day forecast, though, it's really, really nice. Friday is 33 degrees, warming up. Saturday, even warmer at 45. And Sunday, 53 degrees. But we're going to be getting a little bit of snow/rain as we move on to the weekend. Tuesday, there's a chance of both snow and rain. It's going to be fluctuating between freezing and non-freezing temperatures. So look out on Tuesday. You might want to bring both a rain jacket and maybe some snow boots.
Thanks, Will. I've never been so happy to hear that we're having 40, 50-degree weather after all the negative degrees. But after the break, we get to hear more about sports.
What have you got for us, Mike?
Well, the Illini dropped a rematch against Minnesota last night in chilly Minneapolis, plus some good stuff from Super Bowl media days as we hear from both starting quarterbacks. Stay tuned for your sports update and highlights coming up next.
Drop that baby.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
I send him a text. He texts me back and say, "Who dis?"
The next few weeks, you just made fun of me, like would answer the door and say, "Who dis?"
Who dis?
Drop off a warm meal and get more than you expect. Volunteer at americaletsdolunch.org.
Welcome back. I'm Mike Foyles with your UI7 Sports Wrap-Up. Super Bowl Sunday is upon us, and the New England Patriots get ready to take on the Los Angeles Rams in Super Bowl 53 in Atlanta. Patriots quarterback Tom Brady finds himself in a familiar position as he aims for his 6th Super Bowl ring. The squads met Tuesday for opening night in Atlanta as Brady faces the team he defeated in his first Super Bowl 17 years ago. The Rams are back on the grand stage, just 3 years removed from their relocation to Los Angeles from St. Louis. Rams quarterback Jared Goff aims to be the second youngest quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl as he leads a potent LA offense. Super Bowl 53 kicks off at 5:30 p.m. Central Time, Sunday on CBS. In Illini news, Fighting Illini men's basketball came up short on the road at Minnesota Wednesday night, losing by a final score of 86-75. The Illini were looking to build on some positive momentum from their big win against Maryland at Madison Square Garden last weekend, but the Gophers had other plans in mind. Minnesota manufactured a dominant second half to avenge their blowout loss to the Illini at the State Farm Center 2 weeks ago. Illinois point guard Trent Frazier erupted for 30 points, but it was not enough to outclass the Gophers as they finished with 5 players in double figures. The Illini return home to take on the Nebraska Cornhuskers Saturday afternoon. Some tough news for Fighting Illini football as running backs coach Thad Ward has moved on and accepted a position at Temple University. Ward spent the last 3 years working under head coach Lovie Smith and coined the term Liddyville, a phrase purposed to spark recruiting intrigue in Illinois' campus. The Illini will look to replace Ward with spring football coming up in a month.
Thanks, Mike. With no award shows this weekend, here are some of your top entertainment stories.
Last night, the Chicago Police Department released images of persons of interest in the alleged assault of actor Jussie Smollett. Smollett, an openly gay African-American on the TV show Empire, said he was attacked earlier Tuesday morning by 2 men who yelled homophobic slurs directed at him. The men allegedly hit Smollett with a rope around his neck, which the actor still had when he arrived at Northwestern Memorial Hospital for the treatments. The images released by police are 2 men seen on a security camera shortly before the attack was taken. The FBI has taken over the investigation, and according to police spokesperson, they are still gathering evidence and attempting to identify potential suspects.
In movie news, it's the final curtain for Tom Hanks as Woody. According to a tweet from Hanks, Toy Story 4 recording has finished. Hanks tweeted, "Final line, final session as Woody of Toy Story 4. We roll like the wind to infinity and beyond." Andy signed off with his signature Hanks. Toy Story 4 will conclude the blockbuster animated saga and will be released in theaters on June 21st this year.
The cold temperature across the Midwest left many of us stuck inside for the past few days. A pharmacist in Michigan, however, made sure that those who couldn't leave their house could still get an important medication that they needed. Pharmacist Andrea Kosak delivered medication on a snowmobile this week. Her pharmacy has always offered free delivery services, but the crazy cold weather forced her to think outside the box. Cusack said, "There are some medications you cannot go a day without taking, so she made sure that she got them to her clients, even if it took them delivering on 2 motorized skis."
Truly care about people and want to help them, and to see the response of it in the community is overwhelming.
I would love to have that kind of doctor just come to your house and deliver your medication to you, wouldn't you guys?
Yeah, you're right. It just shows it's about people making good decisions for other people.
So, Will, what do you have to say about the freezing weather that we've been having?
Oh, you know what? I'm just happy that it's coming to an end. It's looking up in the weekend. It's going to be about 53 degrees, if I remember correctly. And if you consider the wind chill from the negative 40s that we had to 53, that's almost a 100-degree difference change over the course of 3 days.
Perfectly. Sorry.
Oh, no.
I would say it's perfect weather for the Super Bowl this weekend, wouldn't you, Mike?
Maybe not. I think it's nice that they're playing it in Atlanta and not playing it here. So, I mean, I think this weather's ridiculous. I'm from California, and this has just been awful.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Why did you come here?
That's a good. I get asked that question once every day, and I can't answer it. So, just gonna leave it at that.
So how do you feel about snow?
I'm not a big fan. I thought I was, but then I moved here, and I hate it now.
Definitely.
Really snow for you. Really does. Well, we got more on the way, Mike. Yeah. Snow tonight.
It's good to hear.
Not. Well, that's all we have for you. But for more of our UI7 content, be sure to check us all out on our social media. On Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, give us a like, follow us.
And we'll be updating those all semester long, so make sure you stick with us.
Thank you, guys. Tune in next
tuning in.
Thursday, same time.
Blue shirt. Oops. Yellow pants. Red pants. Green pants. Oops.
If you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
Oh, sweetie. Okay, you know what? Let's take off his sweatshirt. Get rid of pictures of him. You don't have to look at him. Goodbye, Dave.
Mom, you don't understand. He's tagged in like 400 of my posts.
I can cut out tags.
No, that's not how it works.
What is a tag?
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care would love to share their first with you.
40% of food in America never gets eaten. When we start to think differently about our food, we can get a lot more out of it.
Hey, Dad, I need your help asking Jessica to prom.
Of course. Love is like the ocean. You have to tread the
Oh,
waters.
Dad, that's not the kind of help I needed. Hey, Jessica. Will you go to prom with me?
Yes.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care can't wait to share their first with you.